Hi guys, so I told you I would update after we had started with on-demand batches with Instacart, and I can tell you it is horrible. One thing I have learned, here's the good part about working for Instacart, and I have a cold, so I'm sorry if I sound worse than usual. The good thing is you're your own boss, and you can listen to music or a podcast or whatever you're doing on your way to the grocery store, or if you're delivering or something like that. And you know, if it's a rainy day and you don't want to go deliver, you can cancel your hours. So, there are a lot of positives. And generally I've been making $20 an hour if I figure things out and only take batches that are like worth my time, that I can get to, even if it's a full shop, in and out within an hour, somewhere around $20, or even if it's a delivery and I know I can do it pretty quick. So it's been about $20 an hour, which is really good, and that's even with my gas costs factored in there. Not my taxes though, so I'm not sure how that's going to be. Okay, here's the thing with the on-demand batch. I'm in the Philly market, but I'm actually in the suburbs. This went live on June 13th, and I happened to be off that day, and so I literally watched the app the whole time to see how it was going to operate and work. And so I would see all these batches, and some were like far away, like in areas that I don't ever go to, and a lot of them were to go down to the city, down to Philly, in very, very, very like scary areas that I would not want to be by myself as a woman in these areas. I mean, you never know. Any area you could be, you have to always go in, even the fancy houses, you just never know. But anyway, one thing I did learn is if somebody refuses to take it, and this is where shoppers really need to unite, because the corporation will try to get somebody to do an $8 full shop at Aldi's, then go 17 miles with no tip attached to it. So a full shop, say 30 items at Aldi's, drive 17 miles just one way for $8. Well, luckily enough, this sat for quite a while, and I think it finally got up to like 17 something, or they do like what they call boosts to try to raise the rate so somebody will finally take it. And then it kind of sucks, because as the hour somebody places an order, and if it's due or if it's past due and you're the one driving, you might get dinged by the customer for being late, even though it's really not your fault. If Instacart would have paid good money to begin with for you to deliver, it wouldn't have been a problem. But they lowball it, and they hope that anybody will take it. And some people might take it because maybe they live out that way. So that's like they're driving 17 miles and then it's the end of their shift. So they're going to take it, but I find that to be rare, although sometimes I'll do stuff like that. But then the more you wait around, Instacart will punish you. For example, this morning before I was starting my shift, I had an on-demand batch, and I thought I can get this done within an hour. I know exactly where it's at, and it'll be $20 per hour, and I actually was done in like 45 minutes, so it was good. Then I went into my scheduled hours, which were 11 to 3. I have not received one freaking batch yet. It is now 1:33. So I saw where the hot zones were. So one of them, it was in Wegmans. Why did it get dark all of a sudden? One of them was in Wegmans. So I go to Wegmans, and I'm sitting right in the staging area, and I see shoppers walk by me with deliveries. New person comes in, picks up delivery, walks out. Now, I've been sitting there for like half an hour. So 3 people walk by me picking up deliveries. The shoppers, the in-store shoppers are very busy. I see it's also busy in the Montgomeryville area. I contact Shopper Happiness, and she said, well, there's just too many shoppers and not enough orders. So then I said, well, how do you decide which shopper gets the order? And she said, well, there's no preference. And I'm like, okay. So I stopped one of the guys who was getting ready to go on a delivery. And I said, excuse me, how long have you worked with Instacart? And he said, only a few days. So he's only been with Instacart a few days, and he got the delivery he was doing on demand. So he didn't even have a scheduled shift. So obviously that never came to me, right? Instacart has told us that if you have scheduled hours, those orders will go to you first. So obviously that's not true. And then he did tell me, I took some orders to deliver, like I have to drive down to Philly, and it's not worth the payout. Like I'm actually losing money on this situation. And that's what you learn as you start Instacart. Like when I first started, I got some really great tips like right away. So I thought, oh my God, this is how it's always going to be. But generally it's not. Those tips are few and far between, but they do happen. But then if Instacart sees that somebody gave a good tip, then Instacart will pay lower. That would be good. However, customers can change their tips for 3 days. So somebody might say, hey, I want somebody here immediately. I'm going to put a $40 tip in, and then somebody shops it, drops it off, and then they take away that $40 tip. They zero it out. And so then you're screwed, because not only did Instacart pay you a lower amount of money, but it wasn't, now all that work you did was for really crappy money. And I guess DoorDash, you're not allowed to change your tip, which I think is great. So the bottom line, when it comes to the on-demand, Instacart said they're going to be giving the batches to shoppers first. I spoke firsthand with somebody. That is not true. He was on demand. He got the order. I've been sitting here 3 hours and have had 0 orders. And it's been extremely red. And I've watched people pick up batches to take them for delivery. So I just think it's crap. It is what it is. I'm going to stick it out and just try to work the system and figure it out what works best for me. If that means just keeping hours, if that means, one bad thing about on demand is you really have to babysit your app. So you might think, oh, this is great. On demand, I can take and choose when I want to. Except there's unless somebody is not taking a batch, it won't notify you. So if there's a batch, it'll notify you because nobody's taking it and it's a really crappy batch. Like they want you to drive 25 miles and do a full shop Aldi's for $13 with no tip. So you have to literally watch. That's all you're going to be doing. Like Thursday, luckily I was sick actually that day, so I had nothing better to do. But I literally sat from like 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. watching that app and screenshotting when I saw how they went up and the batches went up in price because people were refusing to take them. So yeah, it's very interesting, and I did like it. We'll have to see how it plays out. Changes are always hard to get adjusted to. I'm not so sure that this is a good change right now. So the customer is on the losing end of this because their stuff isn't getting delivered to them like it should be, because Instacart is paying so low. And it's funny, everybody was always concerned about slave wages and getting paid, what you deserve. So, but nobody's really, other than the Instacart shoppers, but nobody really knows. So, yep, that's where we're at now. Sorry this is so long, but I'll update and see if it's getting any better. My plan is to just do on demand. I'll schedule my hours, but I'm I'm just going to stay home because there's no sense sitting in the red zone. Not only in the red zone, in the grocery store, and watching the in-store shoppers pick, and then watching the people pick up their deliveries, and they're on-demand people. So there you have it. Ciao.